All right, y'all, today we have the 2020 GMC Sierra Denali for another night review. Now I'm gonna show you everything on the outside, the inside, all the cargo lights, and take this thing for a test drive and show you how well everything does. So starting right away up front, first of all, you've got some really massive LED daytime running lights. These are some signature lights for the GMC Sierra Denali. They wrap all the way around that headlight housing. They look great. They match this big, bold grille, and you have high intensity LED lights here and LED fog lights. And overall, I really like the way that these look at night with this truck, especially when it's coming at you. And this is the CarbonPro Edition, so this truck is a little bit unique compared to some of the other Denalis. We have the satin steel paint, I believe that's what it's called. I do have a full review going over everything if you want to check that out. This particular model has the dark wheels for our CarbonPro Edition. We have the fold-out running boards. There are even spotlights in those mirrors, or perimeter lights, that I'll show you in a little bit. And then as we come to the back, this is where things get really interesting. So first of all, of course, you get LED taillights back here. You can check out the brake lights and the reverse lights as well. And you kind of have that same mirror C-shape that you do up front with both of these taillights. And then look at this. This isn't the only pickup that has this, but it's really nice. You actually get an LED light that shines down for your hitch. So it is actually quite bright down there. That could be really helpful if you're hooking up at night. This also has the multi-pro tailgate. I've shown you this before, I'll show you in the full review, but it actually lowers with the touch of a button, which I wish there was still a handle, but look at how bright this bed is. You got LED lights back here, you got an LED light on each side, and cab mounted lights, and there's even a camera to see down into the bed, which I'll show you in a little bit. This bed is really awesome. It's a carbon fiber bed. It's even got tire indentions up there if you want to carry some bikes. You're good to go with that. You got a lot of tie downs back here as well. Really awesome bed. And a little party trick is that that part can fold down, and there's actually a built-in kicker audio system in that tailgate. Now as we go ahead and hop into the back door, the fold-out running boards automatically pop out. One extra little feature I'll show you is that there's a little button that you can press on the back of them, and they slide back to give you better access into the cargo bed. But as we take a look back here, I've been hauling my family around a rear-facing car seat and my wife, and they fit back here great. Tons of space, more space than the last generation. Got a couple bright cabin lights on the inside. Lights this area up fairly well, although not a big broadcast light. Can move the seat out of the way. And you got some lighting for some extra storage. And in case you're curious, your heated seat controls are even illuminated. And as you go ahead and hop into the front, I'll show you more of the buttons and switches in a little bit. Overall, I'm not the biggest fan of this interior. Ergonomically, it's fine. Got some bright LED lights up there. Let's go ahead and check out all the backlit buttons. Before we hop in, I want to show you this light on the mirror. It is very bright, as you can see with that camera, and it covers a very large area. And if it wasn't, you know, this light out, there'd be quite a bit of light right there. We are under a light, but it lights up next to the vehicle very well. All right, on the inside, I'm just gonna give you a quick run through of the buttons and switches. I have a more detailed look in the description below, but you've got illuminated buttons over here for your memory settings, your mirrors, and your power doors. And then over here, it's really nice to see the fact that you have well illuminated off-road controls, drive modes, and your light controls. Now, shut the door. I'm gonna go ahead and go through these real quick. You've got your regular headlight controls here. This bottom one is for your mirrors. This actually toggles both the left and the right. So take a look at that. I just turned that on and then turn it off. And it toggles between this and the passenger side. The passenger side does actually have one, and you can see some illumination over there. So it just toggles back and forth between them. And then we've got our cargo light right here. So I'm gonna turn that on, fog light right here. I'm gonna turn that on. And then over here, you can go to camera, and then I'm gonna cycle through. You can check out your bed camera. Take a look at that. Even when it's dark, you can see your bed really well. That is awesome. I believe the cargo lamps are disabled when you're in motion, but it's still nice that you can see that. And then right next to it, if you're backing up to a hitch with your hitch light, it's gonna light that up really well so you can see your hitch. And let me go ahead and show you the rest of the camera while we're here. Got kind of your top-down view. You've got all sorts of different angles. Check it out. You can see next to the vehicle, right next to the front or back tires, everything that you need, and even trailer cameras as well. Steering wheel has some nice kind of whitish, soft white illumination. And then we have this display up here, you've got physical gauges on the left and the right with the white backlighting, and then the digital display in the middle. The digital display shows you a bunch of pretty good information. I wish you could see a little bit more at once, like a couple pieces of information, but there's still a lot of stuff on here that you can navigate through. The start stop button is down there with a little green light in it when you got the vehicle on. And then there's really not much in terms of actual ambient lighting in here, like some vehicles, but all of your buttons are illuminated. You've got these illuminated rings, actual physical knobs. I like the red and the blue rings for your climate controls, and then heated seat controls, ventilated seat controls, all sorts of good stuff down here. And then one thing I really appreciate is all of these switches that are illuminated at the bottom. You can even open up your tailgate. You've got traction control. Everything is just so well illuminated clearly. And then you've got backlit USB ports. Your trailer brake controller even has a plus and a minus for its illumination as well, so you can clearly see that. The Silverado and Sierra may not be fancy in terms of their lighting, but everything is very practical. And then when we look in here, even the center console is nicely lit up, so it's very easy to live with type of area. And right up above, you have an automatic dimming rearview mirror that can also be converted into a camera. So even when it's dark, you can have that camera running all the time so you can see behind you basically at all times. It does get really grainy and fuzzy, but it still allows you to see behind you even when you're driving. Now, to my surprise, we have two glove boxes, which is not a surprise, that's normal, but neither of them have any lighting inside of them. So I just turned the overhead light on and you still can't really see much in there at all. It'd be nice to have a light in the top Denali trim. And then as we move up above, you've got controls for your garage controls, actual lights, regular sunroof, and LED overhead lights right there. Now real quick, I have one complaint about this style of light. I don't care if it's LED or incandescent, but it's a very spotlight type of light. So it's very bright over there and in the corners, but right here in the middle, it's still fairly dim. I was looking for a little tripod mount down here and I did not have enough light to find it. Very small complaint, but that type of light just doesn't light up the central area very well. One quick little note about the area up above is that there is one little light right there that actually shines down and illuminates this little area just a little bit. It's a very gentle glow, but it is welcome, so you can at least see a little bit of where some of your stuff is. One other nice feature is the head-up display. It's a large head-up display. You can change the brightness, you can turn it off, you can change what information is on here. It's really large, really bright, and you can move it up and down, so it's very customizable as well. All right, now as we take a look at the headlights, so first of all, at first glance, I mean, they look okay. You've got a nice strong beam pattern right in front, but there's a good fall off to the left and a really strong fall off to the right, and that's very apparent when you're out on the open road. Now, if I turn the fog lights on, that definitely gives us some really nice width with these headlights, and I definitely love driving with those on in some real dark areas. But the IIHS gives these a poor rating, the worst grade possible, and that's exactly because of the peripheral vision with these headlights and that fall off that I talked about. And a quick look at the high beams right there. Those don't look too bad. Those have pretty good distance. I'll show you in a little bit. All right, y'all, I'm gonna give you a look at how these headlights are from a first-person perspective, and then we'll get out on some dark roads, show you the automatic high beams, how well they do around some corners, and just give you an idea of what it's like to drive this at night and give you a little bit of a different view here in a bit. But I do have a full daytime review if you want to see all of the details with that. And by the way, if you've got some headphones, put them in, because I'm kind of tinkering around with some binaural audio, so it should be a better experience with your headphones in. But I'm going to leave the head-up display on at night with the GoPro. It's not flickering, but during the daytime it flickers, so I have it off in the daytime review. But now you kind of have an idea of what it's like. The first couple roads we're going to get on are a little bit better illuminated, but we'll get on a real dark road in a second. And in order to operate the automatic high beams, there's a little toggle at the end of your blinker indicator stock that you just got to tap, and then they're on. We'll turn them on in a second. Now let me give you a listen to that 6.2. Sounds and feels great. I've got a more detailed driving review with impressions in a little bit, but So right away, I mean, these headlights are bright, and the automatic high beams actually did turn on just a little bit ago, despite the street lights, but they turned off once that car to the right came into view. So that's a good thing. I have had a couple of times where these automatic high beams were on when I would personally not have had them on. They just turned on again. It's definitely a bummer that these high intensity LED lights get the worst rating possible from the IIHS. And I'll show you that in a little bit and why they are like that. Right here, I like to talk about the ambiance in here. All the backlit buttons are nice. There's a very faint little soft glow in here. An automatic dimming mirror for your driver's side, but not your passenger side. And then you have an automatic dimming mirror or camera up there that I showed you a second ago. Let's go ahead and get on that darker road. Alright, we're about to get on this darker road. And then you'll kind of have a better idea of how well these headlights do, hopefully. Leave your feedback below on the camera angles. Here we go, high beams are on. As we look straight ahead, those high beams definitely have good distance. They do have a little bit of a kryptonite going into corners, but the distance straight ahead is great with the high beams. Turn them off, and I'm having a hard time turning them off. I turn those off. Okay, I can't get them to turn off. I'm literally toggling that. Turn the automatic section off. There we go. Low beams are on. And there's definitely a weakness going into that corner. Straight ahead, the lights look good. The straight ahead visibility is definitely fine. It's more off into the distance in the curves. Let me turn the fog lights on. Fog lights on. The distance or the depth, the width is much better. Makes a big difference. Fog lights back off. High beams on. The high beams are definitely the saving grace. If you don't have an opportunity to have the high beams on, like this corner, ooh, yeah, these are definitely kind of dark compared to some headlights in corners. That is the biggest weakness. If you're not doing a lot of corners, or if you're able to have the high beams on frequently, I think they're perfectly fine. But definitely keep that in mind. High beams are on, and they just shut off because of that street light to the left. So it is interesting that they pick up some street lights, but there are some times with oncoming traffic where they haven't been the best. But they turn back on right away, so they are responsive in turning on. And straight ahead with the high beams, it's good visibility. Hope you can get a good idea of that. I just turned them off. Low beams are on. It's good on the road, but off the road is not so good at all. High beams, or excuse me, fog lights now. Good width. Fog lights off. And you don't have to only use your fog lights in foggy, crappy conditions. They're sitting low on the vehicle, they're not blinding people, and they give you really good peripheral vision, as you can see there. High beams back on. And those are definitely the best part of the vehicle. That's not always the case, but we didn't really get to run into much for oncoming traffic. We have somebody crossing up ahead, and they didn't turn off, where I personally would have turned them off. Some cars, some other vehicles would have turned them off, but just a very small complaint. Now, like I said, if you want to see more of an in-depth review, be sure to check in the description below if I have not published it already. Otherwise, I will have it posted down there. And be sure to subscribe for more videos of vehicles at night. I truly appreciate you for stopping by. The high beams are on, even though we have some street lights and some stop lights down there, so that is good. They're not going to shut off at every little glimpse of a light, but that does sacrifice a little bit, because I have had some instances where I wish they would have shut off. They are off now. They turned off on their own. And it could be they're staying off, and it could be because of that car way up ahead. So a little bit of indecisiveness with these high beams, but with the low beams on, visibility ahead is not great. But with the high beams, that's definitely much better. So, all right, what do y'all think of these headlights? I wish they had a better rating. They also do create some glare for oncoming traffic. So leave your thoughts down below. Watch some other videos, please, and have a great rest of your day.